how did you get out of this? Where did you decide to do this low carb carnivore? Where did that come in? How did you discover that?
I was irritated with my wife when she made me go to the doctor. So when they came in to check my blood sugar, I told them they couldn't check mine until they checked hers. And hers was 325. She was a serious type 2 diabetic.
Wow.
I started studying, but basically I thought I had my side all figured out. I started trying to figure out how can we get her better? Because everything I heard about through the official channels was type 2 diabetes is progressive and chronic. All they can do is slow it down. They can't stop it. And that just wasn't good enough for me. It's never good enough for a loved one. You don't listen to anybody who says stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then I started getting into Ben Bickman, Paul Mason, David Diamond. And boy, you talk about an eye-opener. This different viewpoint, this different take on nutrition and health that nobody even knows is out there. It's the best kept secret on earth, isn't it?
Well, we're trying, believe me.
No, I know you are.
We're trying to get it out there, but there's a lot of censorship and a lot of people that don't want that information out there, it seems like. So you started reading, researching because your wife is now discovered to be type 2 diabetic. Now, I mean, one might say, well, maybe it's contagious. It's a virus and it's contagious. Or maybe you both had the same food environment. What was your diet like? Let's just back up. What was your diet like prior to all this discovery? Were you just eating the standard American garbage, or what were you doing?
Oh, yeah. I was standard American diet. I believe that everything in balance, which means whatever crap I wanted to eat during the day. That was my excuse, right? I've been involved in statistics enough to know that coincidences do happen. You get so many instances of different things happening, and two of them are going to happen at the same time. It's called the birthday paradox, and it's not as rare as you would think it is. Where type 1s are 1 in 300, and type 2s are, probably the majority in the country right now.
Yeah, something 95%, yeah.
And the chances of having two in a household are pretty darn good.
So you start reading about and learning about, Bickman, some of my stuff, Paul Mason, David Diamond, some of these other folks that are out there professing maybe a different nutritional strategy away from maybe the high carb, consistent carbohydrate diet that the diabetic ADA often recommends. So when did you decide to, I'm gonna try this stuff, and then how did it go?
What got me was I found R.D. Dykman. Mm-hmm. His son is a type 1 diabetic diagnosed at age 9. Right. And he talked about what he went through. And having a similar technical background, what he said just made sense. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter what kind of grip you have on mathematics. This is chaotic behavior. And if you can't treat the root cause of the chaos, you're never going to fix this. And then he followed him to Dr. Bernstein, the law of small numbers, the idea that you need to get your body into a much calmer, much more predictable, much more reliable state to be able to use the tools that we have, the insulin and the blood glucose monitors.
Yeah, so
that's all the difference.
So with the law of small numbers, I guess the idea is, if you keep your insulin fairly stable, rather than these huge, perturbations where you're having to chase it with very large doses of insulin, which physiologically don't necessarily match with the absorption characteristics of the insulin, with particularly the rapid acting, and you end up with these overcorrections and undercorrections and constant battling. And so when you're just making a small nudge, there's a guy, I think Steve Posner, he talks about sugar surfing, and he's written a book on something similar where
I'm not real fond of that.
He has, he's still more of the ADA, type of diet, but at the same time, it's making these gentle corrections. But, Bernstein has helped a huge number of type 1s. And for guys who don't know Richard Bernstein, I think he's 86 or something like that, maybe 87 years old. He's been living with type 1 diabetes since he was a kid. And
11.
Still doing well. Mm-hmm. So, okay, so you get into this, start reading Dykman stuff and Bernstein stuff. How does it go once you start implementing? And I guess carnivore comes in here at some point, I guess.
Well, it convinced me intellectually. So at that point, I said, okay, I'm going to do an experiment. I'm going to do a test. And if it's going to be a good experiment, I'm going to follow it precisely. And I did that. And I was probably at a A1C up around 14, 15 at diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
My first post-diagnosis A1C was 4.9. See, that's the thing that people don't understand about type 1 right away, is it isn't just being able to cover the food. Anybody can cover the food on any given day. Is it going to be the same tomorrow? No. Is it going to be the same an hour from now? No, because what we're doing is we're predicting the future. We're trying to dose for what our body will be an hour and a half from now when the insulin kicks in. What this does is you get down below this threshold where I think it has a lot to do with being metabolically flexible. It has a lot to do with being in ketosis or in a stable metabolic state where your body's not switching back and forth from burning rocket fuel to burning crude oil constantly, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You get out of that routine and everything settles down to where the tools work very well.
You said your first post-diagnosis A1C was 4.9. So was that on carbohydrates, or was that already on a low carb diet?
No, I only tried the carbohydrates for about 3 weeks.
Okay. So you quickly decided that wasn't going to work for you.
Yeah. So I searched for another 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
So I actually got on the proper train fairly quickly.
Okay. Good for you. And so what? How does that look like for you now? I mean, as far as how much are you dosing? What does your day look like typically for your diabetic routine?
That's pretty easy, actually. I get up and I take my long-acting insulin. It's split 2 times a day. Mm-hmm. Take it in the morning and in the evening. It's not equal because your needs for insulin aren't the same when you're sleeping as when you're awake. And about 10, 11, I have my morning meal. I eat twice a day. Mm-hmm. And that's more because of another comorbidity that I have, or other disease that I have that's probably related, which is EPI, exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. I don't make digestive enzymes anymore. So I have to take a whole handful of basically, it's not a supplement. It's
lipases and amylases and whatnot.
Yeah, but it's industrial dose, where what you would find as a supplement would be about 1,500 to 4,000 units. And what I'm taking is 125,000 units per meal.
Wow.
So it's a handful of pills.
Yeah, so you've got a pancreas that doesn't do much. I mean, maybe it puts out some glucagon, perhaps.